Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the South Carolina Gamecocks Dynasty here on EA Sports College Football 25. We reached our bye week here in year number 3, the 2026 season, and it's a much needed bye because we have not been playing the best football recently. So today we're just going to go through the bye week, take a look at recruiting a little bit, see where we stand, and get the scores for the week before previewing the next game. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty mode content. I can't believe we're almost done with year number 3. But currently the Gamecocks sit 5-4. We were off to a good start to the year. We were 5-2, but we've lost our past 2 games to Mississippi State and to Florida. Both games very winnable for different reasons. And well, at this point we're just trying to shoot for a bowl game. And you see, I mean, we have 1 win to get bowl eligible, but the last 3 games we play are kind of insane. Let's take a look actually. We just played Florida, which is our ranked 12. We got number 5 Georgia, number 2 Tennessee, and number 4 Clemson. So our next 3 games are all against teams in the top 5. Obviously, that's subject to change, but we got to somehow win one of those games. It's not going to be easy, but if you want to make it to a bowl game, that's what you got to do. But before we get there, let's take a look at recruiting real quickly. I know you guys love to look at the recruiting. So far, it's been a pretty good year for us. We are currently the 13th ranked recruiting class in all of the country. We do have a 5-star linebacker, Troy Perkins. We got a 5-star last year, was also a linebacker, so we should be set at that position for the future, as well as 4 or 7 4-stars. The only thing is, when you're in the SEC, 13th sounds good, but in terms of the conference, that is 6th. So we're at least in the top half, but it's just tough competition in the SEC. I mean, we have Florida below us, Alabama as well. You know, a couple teams that could definitely leapfrog us. Texas A&M having a slower recruiting class, but we're going to continue pushing it. So we've got a lot of our big names so far. I mean, we can see here are the ones that we do have so far. But I am still putting a lot of points into some of these guys. We'll go through the battles real quick, starting off. The top guy now on my board is Baraka Baldonado, a 4-star guard from Clemson High School in Clemson, North Carolina. We are currently in front, but Virginia Tech, NC State, and North Carolina all trail. I do like Baldonado. I think he's a good finesse blocker, and he's got 90 impact right out of the gate. He's got pretty decent base traits as well, and I do want to get the offensive line better, so he's currently at the top. Behind him is Angel Casey from Meadow Creek High School in North Cross, Georgia. Right now it's us and Jacksonville State that are neck and neck, but Georgia looks like they've offered a scholarship and they could really jump into this battle. So I want to end this one while we're ahead. He's on the defensive side. He's a power rusher, got 83 power move, 85 strength, 80 tackle, 79 speed. I like what he has in his arsenal. So hopefully we can get that one done and dusted before the Bulldogs make some sort of run. Then we have Tyrell Willis. These are the guys I didn't really show in the Week 0 episode of recruiting that I've kind of found later. Willis is a 4-star bust, apparently, from Ozark, Arkansas. Right now, Missouri is in the lead, but we've jumped up to 3rd, Arkansas in 2nd, so maybe a late push for him. I like the 82 block shed. I mean, our run defense has not been very good the past couple of years, so I wanted to try to get another run stopper. He's got 81 play rec, but we're going to have to do a little bit to get into this battle. Malik Graves from Boiling Springs High School in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. We've had a lot of success recruiting out of this high school. I mean, 2 years ago, we got tight end Otis McNitt, who I think we could see next year. And then already earlier in this class, we got his teammate, athlete Frederick Golston, who was one of my top targets. So we're going back there for a halfback, Malik Graves, but this is not going to be an easy battle. We're behind Clemson, NC State, and Kentucky. He's a receiving back out of the backfield, got 90 speed. But I do like where we sit with the halfback, so if we don't get him, at least it's not the end of the world. Then we got 4-star wide receiver Sean Arrieta right in our backyard from Columbia, from Cardinal Newman High School, that is. Right now it's us, Tennessee, Appalachian State, and Florida State who have scholarships. We're going to be losing both Harbor and A.O. Maynor this offseason. It's going to be hard to replace them, but I like the catching ability that Arrieta has. He's got 93 speed as well, which is okay. He's got good short route running, good release. I think he's just a guy who you can trust to get the football at 6'5", 193. So we're putting max points into him as well. Also, Steve Jimenez, a 4-star from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, attending at Dillard High School, which is the same high school that Isaac Bruce and Chris Gamble went to. And Miami is right there, as well as Alabama. So competing with a couple of top schools. And Jimenez is more of a deep threat. 97 speed, 77 deep route running, 75 release. So we're not going to really be able to replace Harbor's 99 speed, 99 release, but I want to try to get another deep threat because that's been such an integral part of our game. So maybe Steve Jimenez can be that if we hold on. Another wide receiver, 4-star Ezekiel Hand. You can see I am trying to replace the receiving core. He is a 4-star as well from Concord, North Carolina. Same place that Maurice Bone went to, Concord High School, another guy that we recruited. But currently behind North Carolina and Virginia Tech. We did just pass NC State, though. He's another guy that's a lot like Arietta, along with this very same skill set, actually. Interesting enough. So wide receiver's a target. I have Tim Cheeks here. We've been locked out for him for a while on the deal breaker. I just kept him on anyway, but it doesn't seem like he's going to go our way. Corner Ty Funchess, a 4-star from Watkinsville, Georgia, who is apparently a bust. It's not going to be easy for this one. We're behind Auburn and UCF, but now we're putting max points into him. I like the 73 man. He's not very fast. He's definitely more of a slot guy. But we haven't really recruited corner this year, and we are losing, I think, at least one. Emory Floyd, maybe, and Judge Collier. I got to brush up on their classes, but we've recruited well corner the past couple years, so it's not at the top of my board. Keelan Rugamba is a guy that I found later from Blacksburg, South Carolina. That's why we haven't found him late, because he attends Blacksburg, South Carolina, a very small town. He is a gym, though, center. We're the only guy really pushing for him right now, and he's got great traits. So he's a 3-star as well. He's probably the best 3-star that we've targeted, which is why I have him here. Honestly, probably could use more points into him because he's got a great skill set, and hopefully we can close it out before anybody else discovers him. Tobias Stout's another gem of a halfback from Duncan, South Carolina. Very rich part of the state. Now, unfortunately, he also has some interest in Charlotte, but we're trying to make up ground there. You can see we are making up more ground than them. Putting in 15 points, 93 speeds, 83 juke, elusive back. We will be losing Braylon McReynolds this year, so maybe Tobias Stout can chip in. Other 3-stars, Mike Graves from Roswell, Georgia. He's a run stopper. We're the only guy targeting him. He's got 85 block shed, so that really stood out to me with 79 play rec, so I like him. And then we have Matthew Gunn, the run stopper from Georgia, just like Graves, almost the exact same schools going after him, and we almost have the exact same lead, and he has almost the exact same skill set. I swear Gunn and Graves are the exact same player. If we can get both, that's not bad. Then you got right tackle Cordell Fournette from Rock Hill, South Carolina. He's a right tackle who is apparently a bust, but I do like his pass blocking traits, and we could use some help in the pass blocking game. So there's him as well. Justice Owens, same thing. He is at Irmo High School in Irmo, South Carolina, same high school that Gamecock Nick Eamon-Ward went to, who got drafted this past year. Currently the only team really going after him. Another pass blocker, probably not as good as Fournette, but depth never hurts. Back to the defensive side, JUCO from Miami, George Reynoso, who ironically enough doesn't have anybody targeting him, specifically Miami or FIU. I see FIU in 6th. I thought they would offer him a scholarship, considering he's in their backyard. He's got 80 block shed, 86 strength. He's a JUCO, so I expect him to be a little bit higher. Donald Roach, another run stopper from Douglasville, Georgia. We're trying to get a lot of these linemen from that state to poach them away. 78 block shed, so not as good as Gunn and earlier Graves, but a nice backup. And then Brian Wilbur's the last guy I'm putting points into from Dillon, South Carolina. He's more of a power rusher, currently in a battle with Marshall and Kennesaw State, but I think if push comes to shove, we could definitely win this battle. He just doesn't have very high awareness, but that's why he's last in my targets. And then we have a couple guys we're not putting points into right now. Barry Cush from Abbeville, South Carolina. We've recruited there in the past. He looks like he's probably going to go to East Carolina, though. Armand Carswell is a quarterback from Mullins that I have not put any points into. He's also apparently a bust, but he wants to come here, so we'll just keep him on the board. Frank McCord is a deep threat from Anor, South Carolina. Maybe we can go with him later on. He's got 91 speed, 74 deep. Not really the best release, though, so that's why he's far down. And then JUCO sophomore Dontrell Petty is the last guy, and he's really favoring us. He's got a lot of interest from other schools. Still pretty wide open, but, he just has interest in us, so that's why I threw him a scholarship, because other than that, not much there. But that's how the recruiting is going currently. Hopefully we can get some of these top guys and start to trickle the points down. That's kind of what we've been doing this year, and it seems to be working out, but we'll go ahead and simulate the week now. Some big games this week. You can see them on your screen. We highlighted them in the last episode. So let's actually just go ahead and get through week 10 and see what happens. Simulate the week, and we got Georgia next, and it looks like they are now at number 11, so they must have lost. We'll have to see what happened there. But here's some of the top stories. We'll get to those games in a little bit. Northwestern pulls off another upset. They beat Penn State last week. This week they beat Oregon, so the number 1 and the defending champs go down for a second time this year. Northwestern firing on all cylinders late into this season. The Trojans also lose at home to Ohio State, so the Buckeyes have re-entered the ranks after what's been a disappointing season for their matter, but they do beat the Trojans in a major Big Ten matchup. And then Houston collapses. Well, Houston actually, it looks like they beat the Wildcats. I'm assuming they beat Kansas State. So the top 2 teams in the past couple of CFP rankings both lose. So a lot has gone on this season or in this week. So let's go ahead and actually look at the scores, see what happened in Week 10. What was a chaotic week. Started off on Thursday, UCF beat Arizona State. They're now in the top 10. Boise State gets it done against Virginia Tech, a big non-conference game late in the year. UMass knocks off Liberty 29-14. FIU over Kennesaw State. The Owls started off 4-0, and they've now lost 5 straight games. Missouri beats Ole Miss against the Tigers, their first SEC win of the season, while the Rebels continue to disappoint. Duke gets it against UConn. Battle of the basketball blue bloods turns to the gridiron. And a military battle. Army knocks off Air Force to win the trophy. We see Cincinnati beat Colorado pretty good in the Big 12. NC State scrapes by Louisville. The Cardinals almost had the massive upset, but the Wolfpack prevail. We see Cal get it done on the road against Syracuse. Remember, Cal made it to the ACC Championship game last year. And I know it's not the same season, but it's nice that they at least beat Syracuse. South Alabama wins a close one against App State. Texas State over Troy in the Sun Belt. Minnesota gets it done against Purdue. The Golden Gophers up to 20 now. Still somehow behind the Boilermakers. Pitt over North Carolina by 20. We see Alabama get back in the win column over Texas A&M, who is now 0-5 in the SEC. Louisiana Tech over Jacksonville State, 26-21. New Mexico State doubles up Middle Tennessee State. We see Miami, Ohio over Eastern Michigan in the MAC on the gray field. TCU over BYU. Wisconsin knocks off Penn State. The Nittany Lions continue to free fall. Clemson goes down to Georgia Tech. So a lot of pandemonium in the rankings. The Yellow Jackets get it done against Clemson. Still somehow ranked behind them. It doesn't make any sense. SMU over Boston College. And then we see Houston. Yep, they upset Kansas State 36-34. Western Kentucky takes care of Sam Houston by 10. We see Texas Tech over Arizona to create into the top 10. Akron over Toledo. Tulsa over ECU. Memphis beats FAU. And then Wyoming over Colorado State in the battle of the Bronze Boot. LSU loses to Mississippi State, so they get their second conference win of the season. I know Mississippi State had a very slow start to the year, but they're playing good football. I wouldn't want to play them late in the season. And then I have the game of the week in Jacksonville. Florida did beat Georgia, so the Gators now up to 4. The Bulldogs down to 11. No room for error for Kirby Smart and his team. UAB back into the top 25 with a win over Navy. We see Southern Miss over Louisiana. Ohio State, we saw, they beat USC. Northwestern upsets Oregon. The Ducks down to 6. Michigan State beats Illinois 35-7. Virginia in a close one over Wake Forest. Charlotte knocks off UTSA, undefeated in the AAC currently. Michigan, the big win over Iowa. They're now up to the 3 spots. And then Indiana over Rutgers. Oklahoma knocks off Vanderbilt at home. We see San Jose State over UNLV, doubling them up. Florida State wins a close one against Miami, so the Hurricanes go down. I swear, every team that's been in the top 5 lost this week. That's crazy. Tulane over North Texas. Iowa State over Oklahoma State. The Cyclones now up to number 5. Coastal beat JMU 21-7. Utah State gets their win in their Pac-12 debut. They beat Fresno State 24-7. Texas over Auburn in a close one. Nevada beats Hawaii. And then we see Louisiana Monroe over Arkansas State. San Diego State gets a Pac-12 win over Washington State. Nebraska over Maryland. Arkansas over Kentucky. And then finally UTEP beats New Mexico. So a very interesting Week 10. Let's take a look at the players of the week. Obviously, no Gamecock this time. Antone Sermon of Wake Forest will get it with only a sack. And then Eon Poog, 9 receptions, 243 yards, 4 touchdowns. This is typical NCAA or EA Sports College Football players of the week. In the SEC, it was Gabriel Brownlaw Dindy, who lost to Alabama, had 3 sacks. That's a better stat line than the guy who won the National. It doesn't make sense. And then Creed Whitemore had 8 catches for 179 yards, 2 touchdowns for Mississippi State. Let's take a look at the new top 25 and see the disruption. Tennessee now up to 1. So the Vols are the best team in the land. And you know who's leading that team? Illinois Sellers. Alabama jumps from 10 to 2. Michigan up to 3. Florida 4. Iowa State 5. And look at these teams. They were in the double digits. Now they're in the top 5. Oregon falls to 6. Cincinnati 7. Miami 8. UCF goes from 18 to 9. And then Texas Tech up to 10. Georgia 11. Clemson 12. NC State 13. Purdue, USC, Duke up to 16. Georgia Tech now 17. Kansas State falls to 18. 19 Texas. 20 is Minnesota. And a lot of new teams. Ohio State, Pitt, Wisconsin, UAB, and Houston all make it into the top 25. Your big games. Well, actually, let's take a look at the bracket real quick. Here's how the bracket will look now. A lot of change. Duke still getting that first round bye. Tennessee, Purdue, Texas Tech. And it looks like the 5th conference winner could go to Charlotte. Imagine if the 49ers made it into the playoff. Yes, Alabama would suck to draw, but hey, that'd be props to them. Here are your big games of the week. This week, we'll see Oregon and USC, almost like a playoff eliminator game between old Pac-12 rivals. Duke, Georgia Tech, another playoff eliminator game. You got to win that one if you want to stay in it. Iowa State now up to 5. They got to play Utah, and Michigan up to 3. He's got to play Michigan State. So some interesting matchups here in Week 11. We will play number 11 Georgia, who just lost to Florida, so they are not going to be very happy. As we take a look at their team, this is a very good Georgia Bulldog squad. They were my preseason favorites to win it all this year. I still think if they make the playoff, they could do it. You know, as you can see on their screen, Ryan Polinsky is their quarterback. You know, Branson Robinson, London Humphreys, they are locked at skill positions. They have a really good offensive line. The defensive line also pretty good. And then, of course, they got playmakers at all levels. This team is stacked. We're going to have to play our best football. We saw the former Gamecock right there. Jalen Kilgore is now in Georgia, so a little bit of rivalry. Gerald and our team. It's going to be brother versus brother in the next one. But that'll be in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one and you are ready for Georgia. I don't know if I am, but I don't really got a choice. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.